I never worked for long in a company as employee. I think the longest is 7 months. I wanted to be free and create my own things already from the start. I realized the only way is to create something of myself to be happy. I call myself a bit a social entrepreneur. For me, it's not enough to make something that makes money. I want to improve people's life in a way. That's something very, very important.
Hi Bert, thank you so much for coming to the Live Fund. How's it going?
Yes, thank you. Very good. Thanks.
Thanks for your time spending with me today and talk about yourself. We won't talk about startups, we don't won't talk about venture capital, we will talk about you as an entrepreneur, which means the person behind the business. As we start, would you like to give me a picture of yourself, who you are, where you come from, and how it all started?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No worries. So I'm Bert Bernolet. I'm from Belgium. I started like 14 years ago with my first venture. I never worked for long in a company as employee. I think the longest is 7 months. I couldn't really stand to work for another boss or to say I wanted to be free and create my own things already from the start. So yeah, that's why I immediately after I stopped from school, I only worked for in different companies 3 months, 6 months, and 7 months till I realized the only way is to create something of myself to be happy. Yeah.
That's a good way to go. I mean, I did something similar. I worked in 12 months and after said, guys, I'm quitting. That's not for me. Even though you pay me very well, I'm just getting bored and bored every day. What's the point? Let me move on and do something for me. Much more challenging, but as you say, it's more exciting. It's more rewarding if you go well. But if you go right, sorry, if you go wrong, it's fine. Things can happen in life. When we start a business, when especially in tech, you don't only do something for yourself, but normally we do something for making things better, not only for us but for the others. So, did you have this kind of motivation behind as well?
Yeah, that for me is always one of the most important. I call myself a bit a social entrepreneur. For me, it's not enough to make something that makes money. I want to improve people's life in a way. That's something very, very important. And so my last job was to install solar panels in Belgium. But then I thought, okay, you can do it a bit for the environment or for the climate, but you making rich people richer by installing it. It's not such a big deal. So that's why I really wanted to help. And first of all, in Africa, that was my first company to install solar energy in villages where there's no electricity at all. And then you have a big impact in their lives because they only have oil lamps or unhealthy things, and they live in poverty. If you can bring electricity there, they can improve their lives. So that was a very big motivation for me to put a lot of effort and risks as well, and making something like that than only doing something where you can make money. That's for me always a big issue. And yeah, when I talked about my idea to my friends in the beginning, everybody said, "Okay, that's a good idea. You can try that, but work first and do that afterwards in the after hours at night or in the weekend, so that you at least have a basic salary, right?" But I thought if I do that, I will never do it good. If you only have a little bit of time to spend on it, it will always be a bit of a hobby, and it's very hard then to make it really really a good product or a good job or good company. So I just quit my job and I said, okay, I go for it. No, so no friends, nobody supported me in that. Actually, I was just the only one that thought it was a good idea. uh, but then, and that's something I learned along the way, is that it's when you really do things, when you everybody said, yeah, 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 but if you really do it, then the support will come. So then I worked for the last 3 months done, and that company of solar energy in Belgium. Um, and then I talked to my boss about my plans, and he said, okay, yeah, that's it's good. So I quit, and then the 1st of January 2008, I started my own company. And then the 3rd of January, the previous boss called me and said, hi Bert, when do you need to give your car back, because I had a car of the company. uh, and I said, yeah, Wednesday. And he said, okay, you can keep it, and we keep on paying you. So because it fitted in their vision of, it was solar company for Belgium. They had good margins at that moment, so they said, okay, we can do also something good for the world, so we will support that company of solar energy in Africa. uh, so that's and what I'm learned. And you, if you go for it, then you are already in the mud, you're already falling, but it's at that point that people will help you, not before. So
Yeah, that's seriously the real reality. Nobody will back you until they will see something that you're already doing. This comes to from everything. Like it comes to the venture capitalists, they will ask you an MVP done, but they won't bet you at least the very brave one when you need the money to create an MVP, but they want to come when you created it. So it's a kind of a jump on this track or on this horse when the horse is very much going, it's running very fast. But anyway, that's human being. But how was the feeling when you decided to start in 2008 your first company? Did you feel excited?
yeah, I feel free and excited. And when I was working in the companies before, I was always looking at my watch. I was always looking, when is it 5 o'clock and I can go home. uh, but when I then was doing it for myself, I never looked anymore at my watch. I worked just whenever, like in the evening and the weekends, whatever. It just didn't matter. And also the good thing is, it didn't feel as working anymore. It felt as like I'm creating something. That's a different story. I was not at work. For me, like, it felt always like a Sunday, that you are just working, but you don't have to. So yeah, it was a lot better for me. And then I knew that was the way. Even if it's hard to find money, I knew I had to persist.
Persistence, perseverance, resilience. This is how the life of a founder at the very beginning, not only the very beginning, works. But what were the initial struggles? Where do you find the most difficult part when you started in running your business?
Like, and you have it in your mind. And the first thing I always try is to find for myself if that business is worth developing, if there is some added value in it. Um, so I'm trying myself. I went into Africa, I installed solar panels, I saw the live, I saw what it does. Like, the whole village came together to see how I switched on the light. So I felt it was a real important thing. But then the hardest thing is to put from your mind you're convinced, and then to change that in a certain phrase or certain words, that you can explain it to others, why your solution will work and why it's such an added value for people. I find that always, like, difficult. It takes me always a lot of time, like months or even a year, to come from I'm convinced about my business, and then to convince others. So I found that like a difficult part.
I mean, if you want to start a business, not everyone that open a business or start something new are very much convinced of what they're doing. Many they just do it because they go with the flow. Maybe many founders they become founders because they can't find any job. That's not the case. That the number of founders is higher, where unemployment rate is higher. But if you want to convince others, you must be very much convinced yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be very complicated. But be a founder, the difference in be an employee to be an employer one day, how did it affect your life in a good or in a bad way?
Yeah, well, for me, uh, the good way how it affected is that you have a freedom, a flexibility to for your hours, when you work and when you doesn't work. So, like for my family to have kids, it's then yeah you can when there's nobody else to take your kids from school, you can do it, or when sometimes something. Some repair guy comes in your house, you can just work at home and let that person in. Uh, but also, like in Belgium, it's like the weather is very up and down. So the good thing is when it's good weather, I can just go out and take something, a drink on the terrace or in a bar, enjoy the good weather. And when it's raining, I'm working. It doesn't matter if it's weekend evening or whatever. I can just adapt my life a bit to the circumstances. When somebody invites me to do some nice thing, I just go mountain biking for 3 hours and I come back and I work till late. So that's the really good thing that I think how it changes my life to be the owner of your own day. You can manage it yourself. The bad thing is, or the difficult thing is the financial worries. When you're not sure that at the end of the month you will have enough money to pay yeah your bills. Yeah, that's the hard part, and that's where you have to look through. You have to believe that one day, or you have to believe that at the end of the month you will find the money, and at the end of the next month you will find it, and that one day you will have a bit of more security. So that's the hard thing, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most difficult part for sure. But this was going to make the difference, right? That's why not everyone can be a founder and be an entrepreneur. How your day-to-day routine is composed? What do you like to do?
Yeah, I love the freedom and the flexibility. So I just choose in the morning where I want to work. So now I'm just at home, but I have also an office and a co-working space when there are other founders that are also like it, that you're not always alone in your house. I'm there in an incubator, so there are a lot of startups in the same situation. So I just choose in the morning where I want to work, uh, and then I go there, and then yeah, I just I got into the tasks that I needed to do. But I'm also flexible and what I have to work on. I'm somebody who's I can't work for 8 hours on the same thing. I just have a lot of tasks open, and then I do this, and then an hour later I work on something else, and then when I'm sometimes I work on my own in my office, but then at 2 o'clock I'm a bit bored of the environment, like there's nothing much happened, and just I go home, or I have other friends that are also freelancers, then I just go there for a coffee and I work there. So that's the really yeah advantage, the freedom to work whatever you want. So then I just work till 6 7. Then the kids come home. I always want to spend enough time with my kids. That's important. Even if you work long hours or hard, you can take. I always take like from 6 to 8, and to eat together with them and play some games, tell a story before sleeping, or something like that. And then at 8:30 they're sleeping, and then I just sit in the living room with my wife. But then a lot of times we just open our computer again, and if we're just looking a movie on television, or we're working, it's like, yeah, most of the time I rather like to work further on something than I watch television what has less meaning for me. So then it's just the evening is just like doing things that are, yeah, continue working, but maybe on things that are more creative, or more not the boring administration that's for the morning.
Have you ever thought I'm the most unqualified founder and I won't make this done?
Sometimes when you think that you're on a good way, and then you have a team working for you, but I had ones that some very good technical guy quit to work in my company. um, and then I thought, what did I do wrong? Why he doesn't want to work here anymore? I see all the benefits, are the nice things, but then I couldn't convince him. Or uh, so that's sometimes it's, yeah, that's like the difference between being sometimes as a founder, or you need to make decisions, and you need to be clear in decisions, and go forward with the vision, but it's not always easy to explain that to your team. So then, yeah, I then thought maybe I communicated not enough what the vision was behind the decisions, or the things like that. So I went just maybe too straightforward, and then they quit, and that was like, oh damn, this was. So then I thought, yeah, I'm a shitty founder. Yeah.
It's not easy. I mean, communicate things is not easy. Be a founder, be a manager, be a CEO, be an entrepreneur. All come together. It's not an easy task at all. It's very complicated. So I think happens to everyone. Happened to me so many times. Happens still happening pretty often. So I think it's better not. It's normal. Does bring anything unbelievably exceptional because that's pretty much the normality. But in what you are doing today, what are the things that you very much enjoy the most?
I like to create like new concepts, new methods, like with Pamogi, my new company. It's like a new way of working. I like, and then the thing that I like the most is when you, yeah, you see results of that, when other people start to use it, and start to, yeah, the feedback that they are happy with the concept, with the model that you invented, and that you like see that things are yeah, are rolling, and that other people are start doing things that you imagined, that you wanted that they do, like that. That's really amazing that you can, yeah, make other people do the things you, yeah, you hoped, right? And then that they also have good feedback, that they are happy with that, with what you invented, huh? So so yeah, that's an amazing feeling, that you just you create something, and then you see that it works. That's it's amazing, yeah?
I mean, did you to be a founder, you must have a very high level of resilience. How do you motivate yourself? How do you keep yourself motivated?
Yeah, well, the most important, I think, is that to see the long term added value for me as a person in my life, or that if that succeed, yeah, it changes a lot. Of course, you can, it open doors. It gives you also a lot of respect. People respect you. It gives you feedback. So you know that if you get through this, and you make something sustainable out of it, something successful, yeah, that you will get back, not only financially, you will have a bit more security, but that financial thing you can also found in a fixed job, right? So you can, so that's not the issue. But yeah, it opens so many doors, that you realized something that is successful, and it gives you so much uh, rewards back, that I know that, yeah, that's the long term vision. That's what keeps me going, even if I don't see the next step, right?
you need motivation. In order to keep motivated, you need some kind of reward, you need some good feedback, you need something going right? Otherwise, there's no way. If I'm doing always something that never pays back, I mean, it means I'm doing something wrong. How do you cope with failure? What's your take on failure? Are you scared to fail?
No, no, not at all. That's I think yeah, you only can do something when you fail as well. I think maybe sometimes I'm too fast or too I try things out too fast. Maybe that so maybe I'm too less scared of failure. I don't know, but anyway, I think it's better that you try and adapt and change and try again and do this circle very fast than that you wait too long before you try it. But I think also for the idea of on how to keep going, and it's very important to know what are the next steps that you need to do to get there. When you start, you don't need already to be rich or to get money or to have a successful product. So you can put it all in small steps. And like the first step is to have for yourself an idea that what you will build has some value. And so if you then start talking to people and you have some positive feedback, that's the first reward already. And if you put your trajectory or your process of your project of your company and small steps, it's easier to keep on believing because you don't want from the beginning already the big success. You think, okay, no, I had good feedback from one person, that's the first success. So that's good. I'm here. What's then the next? The next step is maybe build something and get feedback on that. You start building and you ask feedback. You know that what you're building is not yet the good final goal. So for me, it's very important to know where you are in that and these steps, and that makes it a lot easier uh, to cope with failure or yeah or to be not that afraid of going because you know you're already two steps further, so you better than before. So that means you have already some success, so it's already good, it's going right. So that keeps me like the high motivation and the positive um, mindset of yeah, keep going, yeah.
Never be stopped by fearing failure. Let's move on. Live with it, no problem. What would you like to do in your free time, in your spare time?
Yeah, I like mountain biking and pack rafting. I'm a rafter a bit. But of course, in Belgium, it's not always easy. You can't raft that much. But we can, yeah, mountain bike, and that's for sure. Uh, and then playing tennis or padel or things like that. A bit sports. I also play in a band, so yeah, and going out with friends. That's always important. That's maybe the thing that takes me the easiest away from what I'm doing. Otherwise, you always keep on thinking, keep on going. But if you then out with friends, you can't always talk about your own uh, company or ID. So then you get distracted, and that's I feel that's good to have from time to time some time with friends. That's important.
You had to. I mean, you need some time to, you need a break. Break is very important for recharging, is sharing something different, not just business. And it just must be there. So there is nothing we can do. I think it's enjoyable. Now, what's your take on today tech ecosystem? Are founders do enough? And must the founders in technology make this world a better place?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think I feel there are a lot of founders, and it's like the ecosystem is better than before. It's my impression there are like the ecosystem of founders and tech founders is growing, and also there's more support for each other, or like equity match, or all supporting. So I think it's the environment or the ecosystem is a lot better now. So yeah, I think it's a lot of people have now also the tools to try it, to and so I think a lot of people do that as well. Um, there's like to for that financial trouble thing that I was mentioning, that one of I think the hardest things for founders, we have a bit of a solution with Pamogi. That's my idea why I want to help more people even to try to start. Um, but also not everybody needs to be a founder. You can also have a good idea and you just do it besides. I think it's yeah, maybe we had also that dreamy sometimes that idea of being a founder, and that's fun and that's creative, and but then yeah, then you do it and you go through the mud, so it's definitely not for everybody a good idea. uh, so yeah, I think it's a bit it's up to you, of course, but you can have good ideas without being a founder and just leave then that role for somebody else, but still you can, it can be your idea that somebody else is doing then, eh?
Not everyone must be a founder. Not everyone can be a founder. I mean, but doesn't mean you can create something good in any way. If I'm sitting you with world leaders and you can tell them what to change, right? What you like to ask them that for you is simply not working. It must be changed.
Yeah, well, I was always thinking to like, if I ever would start a political politic party or whatever. Um, I'm more a believer of nothing is black or white. Everything is gray. Everything is a bit in between. The reality is never somebody's idea alone. So the reality or the truth comes from all of them together as a mixture. Everybody has his own truth and his own reality. So I think we should go more to moderate, like uh, political leaders that are not one direction or the other, or like very strong like yeah, so on social media and on all these things are very short strong messages. uh, that I don't like. We should have more like um, discussions, tolerant ideas that everybody is right. So we should listen to everybody and then say, okay, what we gonna do? We take something in the middle. Um, I think there's too much like, if you want to become a leader in a political party or in a country, you like need to take your own opinion, and you stand for your own thing, and you have to scream that out loud, and it has to be white or black or left or right or whatever. And that's something, I think it shouldn't be like this. It should be more like we listen to everybody, and it's gray. We're not going to do this or this. No, we're going to do something in the middle, because that's the best for everybody. And I think it should be a better world if like the world leaders have more that intention to do something in the middle and not do something for one side or the other side.
There is a huge level of extremism now, right or left, nothing between, nothing limited, nothing created to please both sides. Seems nothing, everything is impossible now except doing things wrong. But anyway, are you concerned about climate change?
Yeah, yeah, that's. I think it will give us a lot of more wars and tragedies in the future, um, and we cannot we cannot stop it. I don't believe that, like the human, how humans are made, we will not find a solution. The world will give the solution, right? Just to, yeah, by flooding and by hard times for a lot of people. That's so. Yeah, I think that's to be worried about, and it's also very hard to change. Uh, it's more, yeah, we have to adapt, I think, to new situations, and try to be more prepared for change. Yeah.
Indeed, things are coming, and I'm very. I have to say, I don't like to be negative. Actually, I'm a pretty positive person, but when it comes to climate change, we are not doing almost anything that we must. We talk so much. Maybe we do 0.5% of what we talk. So anyway, let's see. What are the things that that really matters for you and you're willing to fight for?
Yeah, I think like the friendship and the uh, that's one of the most important things, like your own small circle of friends, family, and people. I think these are very important, and that's where you should take care of. You should put enough time, I think, and listening, if your direct circle, if everything goes well with them, and if you can help there, I think that's for me one of the most important things. You can set up a very huge idea and a global company and whatever, but in the end, like also your circle around you is very important. So you shouldn't forget that. Yeah, that's
The best book in autumn.
yeah. One that I like the most is like *Sapiens* from Harari. It's brilliant written, how, yeah, how he makes like a whole idea how human beings have conquered the world, and why, and how that's yeah, I loved.
Do you like movie?
Yes, sometimes I like a good movie, but has been a while since I had a really good one.
Give me your best actor.
My best actor, yeah, that I'm not really know so much. No, I don't know really.
The best lesson that life gave to you.
Yeah, for me, it's like you always see that if like, life is like a mirror. When you smile, it smiles back. So I think when you act positive, and you be, yeah, nice to people, or you be positive, and you're, then you get positive things back. When you act hard to people, or you are strong, or negative, yeah, then you get it in your face back. So so for me, it's like, try to, right, I think that's an important lesson in life, that you, um, yeah, if you're positive, you get things back. Yeah.
You must think positive to get things back in a good way, not in a bad way. Attracting positivity. But what's your greatest wish?
It's That's a difficult one, of course. And you can wish so many things, but happiness is, of course, the most important, and happiness for people around you. Yeah, and then I think for me, like as a founder, of course, the happiness comes a bit with the success also, and of what you're doing, what you're creating. If that has some success, of course, it's easier to be happy. Um, and I hope then, with what I'm creating, that it also will add a lot of value for a lot of people. So that's important. It's My wish is not that I create something and I get a lot of money out of it. It's more that I create something, and then a lot of people will be happy thanks to that what I created.
So let me close with, if I'm telling you to recommend something to the founders who are watching this podcast, what would you like to recommend them? What's your advice for them?
Well, it's for me a bit, the important is focus, and put your challenge in small steps, right? And then focus on the next one, uh, and do that step by step, and step by step you will realize it. Don't be afraid of scared of the big challenge that is before you, but put it in pieces, and focus on the one first step that you need to do. Uh, and by doing that, by focusing on a small step, step by step, time by time, it's a lot easier to realize your big dream.
Thank you so much for coming to the Live Founder. It's been a great pleasure for me. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thanks.